questions. One is, how come there are any languages at all? I mean, a second question is, why are there apparently so many? These are pretty elementary questions, but they're sensible questions. Roughly, say, 100,000 years ago, which is almost nothing in evolutionary time, the questions couldn't be raised because there weren't any languages. Maybe 200,000, but roughly that area. So it's a sensible question. One is the question, how did languages suddenly emerge in the evolutionary record? And it's pretty sudden in evolutionary framework, the amount of time involved. And then how come they proliferated? How come there isn't just one? Well, there's steps towards answering that. There's progress, I think. My own view, I should say, is pretty idiosyncratic. It's not widely held. But I think we understand enough about the fundamental computational basis of language to see that to develop a kind of a plausible scenario for how there might have been a reasonably sudden emergence of the fundamental nature of language, and also of why the apparent diversity is pretty superficial. So that if, say, a Martian was looking at humans the way that we look at, say, frogs, the Martian might conclude that there's fundamentally one language with minor deviations. And I think we're moving towards an understanding of how that might be the case, and it is pretty clear that it has to be the case. The time of development is much too shallow for fundamental changes to have taken place. And we know of no fundamental changes. So a child from a hunter-gatherer tribe and Stone Age tribe in, say, the Amazon, brought to Cambridge and raised here will go on and become a quantum physicist at MIT. There's no known differences in relevant cognitive capacities. So there's something fundamentally the same about all of us, and it's whatever emerged pretty recently. And we have to work out to show that the enormous apparent variety is a kind of superficial variation, and also to explain how it might have suddenly appeared in the evolutionary record.